California is blessed with a number of wonderful plants. California has actually the largest plant variety in the nation. The state has more plants than all other states combined, more plant varieties. And many of these plants are edible and useful. When I talk about edge lands and the concept of lands on the margin, what I'm referring to are these little spots along highways that people find, abandoned lots, maybe public lands like the Bureau of Land Management, BLM lands, places that people tend to visit quite a bit but don't think of when they think of the great outdoors. We're here today to talk about an item that a person can forage and can actually make some interesting meals out of. Like many different plant species, California has a huge variety of oaks. This one is a common oak to California. Actually, it's an endemic oak to California. It only exists in the state. It's the valley oak, Quercus lobata. And what I like about this acorn is that, or this oak, is that it provides acorns that are really sizable. This here, for comparison, is actually a pretty small valley oak acorn. They can get larger. I found one a little earlier that's about this big. This is more commonly the size you'll find. It's a large, meaty acorn that can provide a lot of meal. Right now we've come in November and most of these have already dropped. So the acorns you're seeing in the tree now here are a little bit smaller, and they're probably also going to be damaged. The acorns that were healthy have probably already fallen out of the tree. So if you look down as you walk along, with any oak, this is what you'll be doing. You'll be walking along looking down on the floor. Well, so again, walking along looking at the forest floor here, or the floor next to along a levee where we are today, you can find throughout what's called the duff here, all these dead leaves and branches and limbs and things. You'll find what you're looking for, acorns. Now, you can do an initial culling of acorns while you're gathering them by looking for damaged acorns. So for example, this acorn has a hole in it, and that hole could be caused by any of a couple of invading critters. There's an acorn weevil. There are some, what look to me like some moth larvae, maybe codling moths, but I'm not sure. So you don't want to pick acorns that have holes in them. This one also has a hole in it. One of the interesting things I noticed this year is that after a good rain, the valley oak acorns will split open. And especially if you get a good drying spell, which is what happens in California. We had a rain of maybe an inch here over 2 days, and that was followed by temperatures like today that are in the mid 70s to upper 70s. So that kind of weather pattern will cause the valley oak acorns to split open, especially I've noticed the ones that are healthier. So that actually helps the culling process when you're doing some initial gathering. What I've found in my gathering over time is that you're going to cull probably 30 to 40% of your acorns that you end up picking. So when you're at home splitting them open, shelling them, what you're going to find is about a third of your acorns are going to be bad. You're just going to chuck them right there, which is another reason why I love valley oak acorns. They're gigantic. So even though you may lose a good portion, you're actually getting some meat out of the acorn. So looking down here, let's crawl along until we see here. Yeah, right here. Here's a split acorn. So after the rains, this acorn cracked open out of its shell, and that does two things. It helps a person to identify whether it's healthy inside or not, which this one is definitely healthy. This one, even though it's split, it has those holes in it, is definitely not healthy. Now if you flip this one over, you'll see the other half might be worth keeping. So I'll break this one open too. So just breaking it open across, you can see the damage there. You don't want to keep that. That's ugly and nasty. So it's basically what you think looks bad is going to be bad. It's important in foraging to recognize what you're comfortable with, and to realize that our species has done this for millennia, and we do have a sense for how things should look, how things should you know, things should be healthy for us or bad for us. So it's good to kind of tap that. Don't always trust it, obviously, especially with mushrooms. But you know, with things like acorns, it looks like something you could eat. That one doesn't. But if I split it down here, yeah, I notice where it comes up apart. Acorns are going to come apart like that really easily. And look, there's a perfectly good half of a valley oak acorn. And then the half I can just throw away. So breaking open this one here, I can see that it's a good looking acorn. It's going to be red. That's probably like a sunburn, probably from exposure to the air. Acorns oxidize pretty quickly, so they're going to change color pretty quickly on you. So again, splitting it open just to take a look. That's a really good looking acorn right there. Something to take home and boil repeatedly. Now for the acorns that aren't split, I'll take this as an example. What you'll want to do is, well, what I do anyway, that makes it really easy, is a flat, hard surface like the concrete floor in a driveway or a garage, and then just a pestle from a mortar and pestle. It's going to be 2 or 3 whacks. You get the hang of it over time. It's not super difficult to do. So I'll just try to set it up on a rock here and and there you've cracked it open. I did 1 crack there, but that's not normal. Now opening this one up, you'll see it's really bad indeed. So it's kind of crumbled apart, it's dark, it's got a mushy substance where the animal, the little bug, is eaten. That's typically, well, sometimes you'll even see that on the edges of holes or in the hole that it's digging through the acorn as you open it. That's called frass. It's basically baby bug poop. So once you've gathered a sizable amount of acorns, by sizable, for me, my last haul was about 5 pounds worth, is what I got. Then you're gonna shell them all individually. That's why you really love finding the split ones that look healthy, because you don't have to do much shelling, although I did do some thumb damage splitting them open. You shell them all. You're gonna cut them coarsely into you know, big chunks, about yay big, and you're going to boil them 5, 6, or 7 times for valley oaks. Now each variety of oak has a different level of tannic acid or tannins in it. Tannins are the toxin that people talk about when they say, you know, oh, don't eat acorns off the ground, they're poison or something, you got to leach them out. I guess it's a toxin at that level, right? There are a lot of tannins in many varieties of acorns, and valley oaks have quite a few. But tannins are also what give you know, dark red wines the feeling that the tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth, or if you you know, you get a hold of a walnut, sometimes it'll do that too. So tannins are really common plant. It's a really common plant chemical. To leach out the tannins from the valley oak acorns, then what I do is boil. It's a very simple process. There are other ways to get a different type of cornmeal or a different type of acorn meal texture. But boiling, I've found, works really well if you're just making a good dry flour, boiling and roasting. So with the valley oak acorns, you're going to boil them. I'm seeing between 5 and 7 changes of water. You're going to fill up a pot about 2/3 full of water, and with a 5 pound haul, you'll probably split it in half, put 2.5 pounds in each. Get it boiling just to where it's boiling, and then pour it off, refill it with cold water, bring it back up to heat again, boil off. You're going to get a strong smell. For me, it smells exactly like artichoke hearts boiling. I have no idea why. I'm sure there's some kind of chemical relationship there, at least in my nose. But you'll boil that out and you'll get a nice dark liquid off of that. And just keep boiling it. After about 4 or 5 changes, then take one, rinse it off so that it's cooled and not boiling hot, and put it in your mouth and chew on it. And if your mouth feels fuzzy, just spit it out and boil it some more. After a while, you're going to get a nice, even, smooth texture with some flavor, not too much, a nutty flavor. Acorn's a nut, after all. And then what I do is a process that I learned from Hank Shaw. from Hunter, Angler, Gardener, Cook, which is also to, after you've boiled them off, you stick them on a cookie sheet and you roast them for about an hour. It's looked for me between 50 minutes and an hour for about 2 pounds of Valley Oak acorns. And after you roast them, you're going to get a really dark look that's very toasty smelling, really good nutty toasted nut smell. And they look like this. And they're going to be very dark. So this is chopped coarsely and then roasted for about an hour. And they're going to be really hard as a brick bat, my mama says. And they're going to be really crunchy. You can put one in your mouth and you'll have a time going at it. What you can do at this point is chop them more finely and put them into soups. Or you can do what I do, which is turn them into flour with just a regular blender. If I turn the blender on liquefy, I will open up the lid just a crack and just start shoving in a few acorns at a time. It's really loud. You might want to wear earplugs. It's a really loud process, and it'll chew your blades up after a while. But if you're, the purpose of a blender is to use it, right? After you've ground it into flour, this is what it'll look like. But it's a really dark, toasted, nutty smell to it, and it really adds an interesting flavor, a really good flavor I've found. Sort of the cycle here, you've got the acorns out of the tree and then split and shelled and roasted after having been boiled 5 to 7 times. And then the ultimate ingredient there, the flour. Accentuated here by a beautiful sash from Annie Mackhale of A Spinner Weaver. If you want to go check her out online too, you can Google A Spinner Weaver. So marginal lands can yield a number of really interesting things for folks. So whether you're heading out for watching birds, or you're going fishing or hunting, or perhaps you're just walking along trying to pick up food for free on the side of the road, you can find quite a few interesting things here. Thank you for coming by and learning a little bit about the California Valley Oak and how to process acorns for flour. I hope to read your comments soon at my blog Agrarianista at agrarianista.blogspot.com. Thank you.